What are some green flags early on in dating that the relationship should become serious? You go on a road trip together and still like each other at the end of it. Absolutely. Traveling together in general is a great test of a relationship. My boyfriend and I have traveled internationally together 3 times now. Twice while dating and once before we got together. Packing, airports, cabs, foreign languages, etc. Being able to navigate all the potentially stressful aspects of traveling and still have a good time together is a huge green flag in my opinion. Yeah, it wasn't early in our relationship, but I was a little anxious before my boyfriend and I embarked on a month-long trip abroad because I was worried being around him literally 247 would get on my nerves. Nope. It was a fantastic trip and his company was never irritating at all, even when we had to deal with typical travel stressors. That's one of the reasons I know he's a keeper. Long trips are a great test. The ability to apologize. If your partner never sees their faults, it'll never work. To tag onto this apologizing, admitting they were wrong and then making the genuine effort to correct their poor behavior. If needed, apologizing like it makes it okay to keep doing the crappy thing they were doing is a red flag. You genuinely enjoy one another's company during dull moments. Life's full of them and you're going to want a partner who you can enjoy them with. I think silence is underappreciated in relationships in general, not just in romantic relationships. There's an oceanic feeling when you're with a good friend just quietly taking in the whole world around you. Oceanic is such a good word to describe this. If they respond well when you are dealing with a crisis situation, or when you're seriously ill, or when your family member is seriously ill, they may be a keeper. In other words, how do they interact with you during times of stress? Does their presence behavior help? Do they make it worse, or do they make themselves scarce? Encouraging growth, but doesn't try to change your foundation. When you can talk forever about pretty much anything, and when something you have different opinions about becomes an interesting discussion rather than a fight. Important. If you cannot air out your problems, making necessary accommodations, and have different opinions, do not think it will magically change when in relationship. I actually know a girl who thought all of her and her boyfriend's problems would just magically disappear once they were married. Spoiler, they did not, in fact, disappear. There's also the evolution for this though, having kids will make all problems disappear. Ah yes, the old save the relationship baby. Never a bad idea. And totally a good way to not scar a child. Comfortable silences. If you can enjoy each other's companies without needing a distraction, you're usually golden. Edit. Thanks for awards. I'd like to thank the Academy, and the kind strangers. That's how you know you've found somebody really special. When you can just shut the duck up for a minute and comfortably share silence. Mia, Pulp Fiction. I don't think we're quite there yet. Vincent Vega. When, during an argument, both parties take time to listen and respond thoughtfully to their partner and show genuine concern for the distress in their partner, even if it is small. This is major. My wife and I both pride our relationship on our handling of our disagreements. If either of us starts to get angry, we stop separate for a while, then come back with cooler heads and iron it out. The adage "don't go to bed angry I hate" cause sometimes that cool down period helps. But you still have to be open and communicate what it is you're feeling and why. Edit. Forgot to say handling of our disagreements. This is very important. Usually we're pretty good at recognizing when the other had a rough day or is tired or hangry or just feeling down. Sometimes when we're both like this, we know well enough to do our own thing for a bit before things get heated. Pride, ego never get in the way of apologizing and having genuine concern for the other's feelings. We try to at least say, "We're probably both tired, let's talk about it tomorrow. I love you" before bed. How good is their company during a drive, or when there is nothing to do? My future wife and I found that we loved just spending time together. We could talk for hours in a car during a drive. Sometimes the drive was more interesting than where we were going. A few weeks into our relationship, we went through a drive-thru and she spontaneously unwrapped and rewrapped my burger so I could eat it while driving with clean hands. I knew I was going to marry her. Just over a week from now it will be 23 years. Shit. My wife and I can drive for 3 hours without saying a word. She might jump out of the car if I wanted to talk for 3 hours and vice versa. Quiet time is fun time. Being able to make each other laugh. Understanding the other person's sense of humor is critical in long relationships, and besides, do you really want to get serious with someone who can't hardly make you laugh or smile? This is so important. I don't think people realize how many arguments can be avoided when you understand when someone is joking. Goes for relationships and general life relationships. I just broke up with someone who didn't understand that unnecessarily serious answers to funny controversial comments is a form of humor for me and that my feelings are not hurt. Until I read this, I didn't realize how much strain this little fact had put on our interactions. I once went on a date with a girl who was a fan of a rival sports team. She said, "I a fan, I hope that's not a problem." And I responded, "Not as long my team keeps winning." And she got offended. I interpreted it as an invitation for a little playful banter, not a serious question. Man, that's the sort of thing that would be a 1010 response in my book. Just goes to show how different people can react to things. They genuinely like being able to do things to help you out and vice versa. They want you to be happy and you want them to be happy, and you're both willing to make reasonable sacrifices to make that happen for each other. Both people genuinely enjoying the conversation, being attentive to each other. No negative attitude either. To add to this, asking questions. If you're enjoying the conversation because you're dominating the talking, it makes people turned off. Ask them questions, expect them to ask you some in return, show interest in them by asking questions about things they seem energized. This is huge in developing good conversations. On my second date, before I was supposed to move states, we got stuck in a parking garage cause of an accident for 45 minutes. We watched a non-subtitled foreign film on my phone, enjoyed talking with one another, and we connected despite being done with what we had planned to do and were stuck in a car. I ended up canceling my move and marrying the woman. Edit, just realized today was the day I proposed to her 3 years ago. Odd that it coincided with the post lol. About 4 months into my relationship I got injured. There was a chance that I wouldn't be able to walk again. My then girlfriend, now wife, said, "Don't worry, it's going to be okay, we can figure this out either way." I'm okay now, but just knowing she was going to stay with me no matter what was huge. We've been together 8 years now. We have our challenges, but at the end of the day we both know we're there for each other. So, were you able to, walk? They said there was a chance they wouldn't be able to walk, instead of saying they lost the ability to walk, so I'm assuming they still can. They're okay with spending time apart. A significant other, or even just a friend, that can spend their own time alone and doesn't absolutely need you to be happy is a major green flag. You should make each other's lives better, not become each other's entire lives. They're okay with spending time apart. We just celebrated 15 years together and I believe this is the single most important part of us being happy together for that long. We're both hobby and career-driven individuals that have our own workspaces at home where we like to escape and do our own thing. We also often chill in the same room while doing our own separate things and just enjoying each other's company. Respecting each other's needs to do things alone and not needing to do absolutely everything together is really the key to our relationship working as well as it does. I've been married 4 years. This is one thing that I noticed when we first started dating. I'm a pianist, and I like to practice. She's not a musician, but she did play as a kid and still has her keyboard. When we first started dating, there would be nights where I'd go over to her place and I'd feel totally comfortable practicing for hours while she read or did work. We were just instantly comfortable in each other's company without feeling the need to constantly pay attention to each other. We paid plenty of attention to each other. It just never felt like it had to be constant just because we were together in the same room. I realized I was able to just fully be myself while incorporating her into my life, and she felt that way about me. We didn't have to compartmentalize. In past relationships I had my work life, my personal hobbies, and my relationships all in their own separate boxes. But with my wife I've been able to have everything meshed together. Noticing the other does not take themselves too seriously. In the very early days of dating my now husband, we took a long road trip for a romantic getaway in Boston. The first night in town, expensive dinner in a famous seafood restaurant. The server brings the bill and takes my date's credit card. Server comes back with the news that the credit card was declined. Both he and I burst out laughing at the same moment. That was my green flag. Maybe you knew it would and you paid. It was a ruse, I say. The long con.